Hello there everyone, thanks for tuning in. My name is Michael Preby. I'm a writer and I own the Lovely Grind website. That's a site I use to write about total health, spiritual inspiration, professional fulfillment, balanced living, among other things. And over the course of the next few months, I'm going to be putting out a number of videos related to prescription drug withdrawal and what it takes to live a life that is free of prescription drugs, specifically tranquilizers such as Xanax and heavy antidepressants such as Paxil. I'm going to be writing about these things because I have a story, as a lot of people of my generation do. I was put on Paxil when I was in college. I was suffering panic attacks. I didn't know what was going on. I was sitting in classrooms in summer classes at UW-Madison in journalism school. I was taking some summer classes to finish my degree on time, and suddenly I couldn't breathe. I was hit by the sensation of walls closing in on me. I had strange head pressures, beating. My heart felt like it was beating on my chest. I felt like I was, in short, going to die, but I also felt glued to my seat, like I couldn't escape the situation. And this kept happening over and over. I started obsessing about the situation, worrying about these attacks days and weeks in advance, and eventually the anxiety became so troubling. I went to a family doctor, as many people do, and I was put on the new antidepressant of that era, Paxil, paroxetine. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that, or similar drugs. And as a corollary, I was also put on 0.25 milligrams of Xanax, a tranquilizer for acute panic, something you take to just calm you down when it gets too bad, something that kicks in real quick, as anyone who's taken something like Xanax knows. So that's how I started these drugs. That was when I was around 21 years old. In the time since then, I graduated college, got married to my wife of 15 years, Claudia, who I'm still married to. I worked at a technical college for a number of years, about a dozen years. I wrote on and off. A couple years ago, I made the decision to transfer to a full-time independent lifestyle, write full-time. And also, the seminal decision, I believe, of the last 10 years of my life was getting off of those drugs, the Xanax and the Paxil, that I was on for so many years. So I was on those drugs for probably 12 or 13 years, and after a while they stopped working, and they started causing more problems than providing benefits. They caused me to become unhealthy, listless, depressed, anxious. I put on a ton of weight. I became very depressed, and eventually I wanted to get off them, but I thought it was impossible. I read stories, I searched endlessly on the internet, at the library, looking anywhere on YouTube videos, someone that would tell me that it was possible to get off them, that you would survive. Because once I made the decision to get off of those drugs, I was not prepared for the withdrawal that came directly after that. So instead of getting better, I was getting worse, and I didn't understand what was going on. I thought I was dying. I was in and out of doctor's offices, trying to confirm the fact that I wasn't dying. As any of you who are out there going through prescription drug withdrawal currently certainly know, there are so many strange symptoms, so many bizarre physical and mental tortures that you just can't make sense of it, and every day is an hour-to-hour struggle. You can't sleep, you can't eat, you can't exercise, you can barely go to the bathroom properly. You feel like you're losing your mind. You can't interact with others. You feel disengaged from reality. You feel as if everything's perhaps a movie, and a horrific one at that, a terrifying one. So I'm here to tell you it will get better. It will get better. It can get better, and it's going to get better. I was so desperately searching for someone to tell me that when I was going through withdrawal, and I'm here to tell you that indeed you can get off these pills and it will get better. It just takes time. And what it's going to take is a focus on your goal. It's going to take a sense of perspective that these things aren't going to happen overnight. And it's going to take a lot of self-care effort, which is going to involve taking care of yourself emotionally, taking care of yourself spiritually, and taking care of yourself physically. And over the next few months, I'm going to be putting out a whole boatload of videos related to all these things, because there's so many withdrawal symptoms. There's so many different motivational tools and techniques to get through it all, because each day feels like 1,000 years when you're going through withdrawal. And if I could have a video for 10 minutes of each day what I was going through, that would certainly add up to more than one person could watch. So there's a lot I want to cover, and there's a lot I'm going to put out there. And a lot of it's going to be related to not only motivational techniques and things to stay focused on. I'm also going to tell my story in more detail, and I'm going to relay diet tips, exercise tips, spiritual living tips, and I'm going to also talk on a variety of other topics related to fulfillment and balanced living as well. But for those of you going through withdrawal, you're going to want to check out all the videos related to the tips and techniques to survive what you're going through now, and know that it might take months or even years, but it will get better. You will be able to get off these things. I was on, to put things in perspective for those of you who are familiar with dosages, I was on 20 milligrams of Paxil and up to 40 at times. I started out at 0.25 milligrams of Xanax. Over the years, that increased to 4 milligrams daily. Anyone who's familiar with that drug knows that's a boatload to be taking every day. That was what was prescribed by the doctor, and those of you who are familiar with Xanax also know it's very addictive because it works so well in the short term. So 4 milligrams was what I was prescribed daily. I was certainly taking more than that at times because the drug is so addictive. So I weaned my way down. At the time when you're on 4 or 6 milligrams daily or whatever it is of these drugs, it seems like you are never going to get off, because a 0.25 milligram cut, every time you make a cut, it certainly gets difficult, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. It does get better, the sleep gets better, the energy gets better, the mental clarity gets better, you regain your physical functions, you can exercise normally, maintain normal relationships, conversations, go out, have fun again, enjoy the world again, regain your sense of hope. These things are all possible. It's just going to take time. But it's certainly possible, and in the back of my head, I think I vowed, if I ever survive this, I am going to share with others. I kind of made 2 vows. One, I prayed every day, prayer and devotion. If you weren't spiritual before withdrawal, I can guarantee you will be by the time you finish, because your eyes are opened to so many layers of reality that you see that life is about so much more than just the everyday surroundings, the Facebook and the careers and the cars and the Instagram pictures and all these shallow concerns we have. Your eyes are really open to a spiritual, and you need something bigger than yourself to get you through. My background is Christian. I relied on the Gospels and a lot of devotional messages related to that. I really went through a period of spiritual growth. I've always been Christian by definition, but this really forced me to become deep spiritual Christian living by practice. So that's also going to be some of what I'm putting out there, is the spiritual inspiration to get you through. So one of the vows I made to myself, I guess, was that number 1, I would find spiritual inspiration and share that with others, and number 2, I would tell others that it's possible. I'd share my story, let them know that you can get off these drugs, that you will survive the withdrawal, that you're not dying. One last note, I was also on massive amounts of blood pressure medication too. As you're taking these things like Paxil and Xanax, you lose energy, you lose motivation, you perhaps aren't taking care of yourself from an exercise perspective, you're not eating all that great. I was also, smoking a lot of cigarettes. I quit those 2 years ago. That was like a almost 20-year habit. I haven't had a cigarette in a couple of years now. So I was on those blood pressure medications too, hydrochlorothiazide, lisinoprol, and metoprolol, a heavy dose of metoprolol. I had kind of a prescription happy doctor there for a while. So I was also able to get myself off of all those through diet changes, exercise changes, and monitoring with do-it-yourself at-home blood pressure monitor. So these things are all possible, and none of the advice I'm going to be giving is meant to take the place of consultation with a physician. Just kind of a disclaimer there. And nowadays, I certainly hope that physicians are a little more enlightened than they were several years ago when I was looking for answers. I didn't get all the answers I needed from doctors, and part of that was my own fault, because the ones that many years ago were telling me that you should look for other avenues to health besides pills, I was kind of pushing them away because I didn't want to hear it at the time. And I know how frustrating that gets. So I know that some people also who take antidepressants or tranquilizers like Xanax and Klonopin and all these things are going to say this is a cure, this is working for me right now, and maybe it is. I'm not here to tell anyone that if it is working, they need to make some life-altering decision to get off it. I just know there's a lot of people out there who want to get off it, or who are having health problems because of these medications and need to get off of them. And I'm here to tell them it is possible. I'm here to tell their families it will get better. So hopefully you all will find a little motivation and inspiration as you watch these videos over the course of the next few months with me. I encourage people to go to my website, lovelygrind.com. I'm also on Facebook at lovelygrind and Twitter at lovelygrind. You can reach out to me. I'm also at michaelprebywriter.com. I certainly hope people will send me messages. I can provide, feedback and comments for people as they're having questions about what they're going through physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, family members that might have questions. So I hope to really help some people here by doing this over the next few months. It's something that took a little while for me to make the decision to share with others and make a part of my life, but now that I am making a part of my life, I really hope that it's going to be beneficial to a large number of people. I've been off of these medications for a little over 3 years now, and like I said, I was on a little over 4 milligrams daily of Xanax, at times much more than 4 milligrams daily, but that's what I was prescribed at my highest levels. Also 20 to 40 milligrams of Paxil a day, and then 3 blood pressure medications. The metoprolol, my doctor had me on 100 milligrams of that at one point. So these amounts are not, they're not childish amounts, and I am totally free of all these medications now, and I have been for a while. So I'm here to tell you that it is possible. It will get better. Just stick with it. Stay in there. Stay strong. Believe in yourself. Believe in God that He's helping you through it. Believe in the support of friends and family. Just keep a sense of perspective. It didn't take a day to get on these medications. It's not going to take a day to get off, but day by day it does get better, and it will eventually get much, much better than you could have ever imagined. So I kind of long-winded on this first video, but there'll be many more to come on a variety of topics. Things will be a little more specific. This was kind of a general introduction to this series of videos I'm going to do about getting off of antidepressants such as Paxil and tranquilizers such as Xanax, and surviving withdrawal syndrome that some people would say doesn't exist, but it most certainly does. I will tell you that, and so will millions of other people. It can take weeks, months, or years, the withdrawal. It can be extremely painful, extremely confusing. A lot of people just end up going back on the same drugs they tried to quit, or switching to other drugs, or maybe suffering even worse consequences because they don't have the proper support, or they can't find the correct friends, family, doctors to give them what they need to survive something that can be survived with the proper support. So again, I hope you'll stick with me. Subscribe to this YouTube channel, Lovely Grind, and go to my website, The Lovely Grind, at www.lovelygrind.com. Sign up for that mailing list. You'll get every blog post that I do. I hope to see you again in the near future, and in the meantime, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and just keep believing that tomorrow will bring a brighter day.